30 hertz straight up.
Welcome back to another wonderful episode of Lupus Has No Face, the podcast where we talk about real life, real struggles, and the power behind lupus and beyond. I'm your host, Savannah Burtz, and we have our special guest, Mr. Vaun Mayes, in the house today.
Peace.
Thank you for joining us.
No problem at all. No problem.
Okay, you guys, we will be discussing cultivating and health in the community, building the community up. And I'm sure you guys has been aware of what's been going on in the community, especially if they following you and watching the news. So for those that do not know who Mr. Vaun Mayes is, who is Mr. Vaun Mayes?
I'm a man of many hats. I usually wrap it up in two terms. One is activist and the other is violence prevention specialist. So those kind of encompass all the different things that I do. So just somebody out here that's trying to be part of the change we want to see. Somebody that's giving back, somebody that used to be, a YN back in my day. So I'm, just paying it forward today,
Okay, so we gonna kind of like double back it around. So you used to be one of those.
Yeah, I was out here.
Was as reckless?
Oh no, it was totally different. The name of the game was to not get caught, be under the radar, and not be really seen like that. It's totally different today because the purpose is to be as seen, heard of, and visible as possible, which is crazy to me. But it's just different times.
Why do you think that is?
Social media. The whole entertainment field, specifically coming from social media, like it has put everybody in a place where if you are not popular or seen or talked about, then you have no real purpose here, and it puts everybody in a position where they feel like they have to be known or seen. So
what do you think popular is coming from a retired YN?
But back then, even in school, like you had the groups, right? You had the popular group, and then you had the weird group, you had the nerd group.
Yes.
You had all these different groups, and people kind of just filtered where they fit in, and they was fine with that, right? But now it's like everybody just want to be in the popular group. It's like, it's almost like how back in the day, the only ways you could really do anything was play basketball, or be a rapper. Pretty much was like your two options. But now it's like, again, through social media, you can just act a complete fool and have shock value, and the next day you got a TV show. Like, so it incentivizes people being as wild and crazy as possible, which is, like I said, a total turnaround from how it used to be.
I totally agree with that. That topic alone will take up my whole show. So I definitely would have to bring you back for some of the other things that you are saying. How did Comfort's MKE and the Disastrous Relief Division come into play?
So when I first started this, I really didn't have any intention of having like programs or a business or an initiative or nonprofit. I just came into this, like I said, wanting to do something to change my community, be a part of the change. But in that transition, because I initially came into this as a protester during the Trayvon Martin, Mike Brown, And then here you had Dontre Hamilton's case. So just coming in as a protester and really learning the landscape, following behind other leaders like Khalil Coleman, and just seeing what the landscape of the city was. But while I was doing that, right, we always see a lot of people talk about what needs to change, but there's no real action in towards doing it. Even when we was out there, like we would say, you know, this got to change. We need to do this. We need to do that. And then we'll move on to the next thing. So how Conforce came into play was taking those experiences, talking to people, getting feedback, being somebody who went through a lot of the stuff and knowing what needs to be done, of saying, okay, protesting is really to put a message out and to be seen and heard. But once you do that, then what? Because you can't just keep talking about the same message over and over.
For sure.
So Conforce literally was like that next step of okay, we're going to sit down and focus and build a collective of people who are going to go out and deal with all those different issues. So former Senator Lena Taylor, who's now a judge, I had got connected with her. She heard what I was trying to do and she helped me push it. Because from an elected standpoint, Lena is an activist in her own right. She does so much more than what her title is. She's helping people, putting people in housing in the middle of the night when they got nowhere to go. So she was doing kind of the same stuff. And so we connected to try to build that. So it just became a collective of business owners, youth, residents, organizations, faith-based, leaders. And really it's like, this is the issue. And we kind of filter between, okay, this is what I can do about it. This is how I can help. And we tackle it from there. So it's the actionable part of the talking.
So the conclusion.
Right.
Okay. I totally understand that. So like, how old are you? How old were you when you decided you wanted to become an activist?
I mean, I came into this, I was about 27, 28.
So you just woke up one day, like, how are you feeling? Like, what just made you just want to do that?
Like I said, I think the death of Trayvon Martin and those like going towards those issues and not really knowing too much about what was going on in the city specifically, but I had never seen a real protest in real life. So all I could do is like Facebook preach. Like I went on my little rants and stuff like that. But one day I was on the bus coming from Lakefront, didn't have nothing to do. I was coming past MLK and North Avenue and I just saw this mass of people like going down MLK towards downtown. And I'm like, what's going on right there? So I got off the bus and it was a protest for Trayvon Martin. And so that was the first thing that I saw where I can actually join something, or these are people who, now I'm learning who's out here to leader, or what else are they doing? Okay, these are the organizations that's out here. So just starting from there is kind of where I got my jump into everything.
That's dope. And I think that's a lot of people's problem. They probably and do want to do things, but they don't know where to start.
Right.
They don't know where to start, what to do, how to do it, who to talk to, those things. And like what the rules are, is because there's rules in protesting, correct?
It is. There should be. But that's a lot of times you'll see the same thing, especially if it's behind a like tragic situation, how you'll see it very chaotic at first, and then they'll start to be more formed and organized, is because people just go out with no leadership or no guidance to say, this is what we're doing. This is, our agenda, and this is how we're going to go about it. It's just a bunch of people that go out there and they just mad. Right. So there should be rules, but it kind of takes intention to put us on the right foot starting out. So
just to name a couple, what are some of the rules that need to be in place or should be in place? just name two.
So my two major ones is whoever's leading that, right? You have to inform the people completely so that they know what they're doing in the backlash of what they're doing, right? Because yes, you have the right to protest, but they can make you get a permit if they want to, right? They can try to do that, but the whole point of protesting is to not do those things as like civil disobedience. But people need to understand, when you do acts of civil disobedience, you can get arrested. A lot of people lead people out there into these things and don't explain to them. They just like, this all right, but they don't explain to them like, no, there's a law that says you can't walk onto a freeway and protest. There's a law that says that, and it could be a felony. So if you go on this bridge with me,
a felony for that?
Yeah, I mean, after so many, when it turns in, so it could be a ticket, a misdemeanor, and then if you do it so many times, it could turn into what they call a state charge, which is a more serious version of it, right? So get in towards that. But I've been in so many instances where people leave folks out there and like they have people thinking they can do this stuff, and it's like they get in trouble and they like, what happened? and it's because you didn't explain to them or even know yourself what the consequences could be to some of these things you're doing.
That's dope. That is real dope because I didn't know that. I know that there are rules just because people go to jail. But I'm like, are they aware of the rules before they even get out there?
No,
putting their lives in jeopardy, and you know what I mean?
Mhm.
So for those people that is just joining, there are rules and protesting. So be prepared.
And the other one I would say is like, again, in leadership is you have to be a balanced and sensible leader, because a lot of people, they want to become the leader and then they try to utilize and leverage the mass or the people and the power for stuff that it shouldn't be used for. So
woo, that's a whole nother. You done talked about. We're gonna have to do a series. We don't have to do a series. I do let my guests read the comments. We got 2 comments so far. So Dr. LaShawn Garola, what did she say? You want to read them on?
There are rules and protocols for everything. Protests without violence.
For sure. For sure. You've been called a real deal force for change. What has fueled your resilience through it all?
I really just feel like well, one is it's just leadership through fearlessness. Like honestly, we live in Milwaukee, and any real urban inner city community is dangerous to just exist and live and go about your day to day anyway. So I just always look at things from a historical perspective, and knowing that even any of the stuff that I can name that I went through and persevered through, somebody had it way worse before now. Like, people actually have gotten killed, set up by the government. They're on the run, internationally, because they can't come back here. They want to most wanted. Like, it has been real major things that have happened to people in this position who got up and said, I'm gonna change things. You know what I'm saying? So I just look at everything from that perspective, and it just helps me, keep that balance.
I'm not gonna lie, I'm gonna touch a little bit on it because there's more questions to come on this topic. But when I first seen you, it was you and someone else. It was two of you. I don't know the other gentleman's name. And 2 things happened so far. It was back to back, but it was other things that happened that how should I say it? That families should get a condolence to. So condolence to everybody that lost their lives, period. But we lost Tweezy, and a child got snatched.
Right.
And when I say, like, I don't really watch Facebook, I'm more of a poster, so I don't really read stuff. And when I seen you, it was just my eyes got stuck on you. And I'm like, who is this dude? Like, you know what I mean? You were saying some powerful things that was stuck, and it was like people was listening to you. And what really caught my eye was that you guys found that little boy.
Yeah.
I was just like, oh my God. And you wasn't just stuck on one thing. You was like, we finna come over here and show them some love. We finna do this, make sure this don't get out of hand. And then we about to go over here and see what this little boy is at and what's going on with this, because this don't make no sense.
Right.
And you did exactly that. Of course, you had a team behind you. So shout out to his team. But y'all was amazing that day. Like, that right there is what people need to see.
Yeah. I will say this. It's a lot of ego and a lot of, like, chest beating in this. And there's one thing that I know about myself is the things that I'm good at, I'm great at. And I understand that it don't need to be said or spoken. I just move a certain way. But what I can say is I'm probably the only activist that does the amount of stuff that I do. And I've done this for, I'm probably about like 10 or 12 years in at this point. So it's just like knowing how to go about situations and having a network in place to know we can make some things happen.
You definitely executed that. And, I don't care where you go. Everybody got his bad communities or whatever. But to see that was my first time actually seeing that here in Milwaukee. And when I tell you, that was just like emotion I can't explain. That was really dope. So keep up the work. That was really that was good. Were there any personal turning points that made you realize that was your mission?
So if you look on my page, I have this moniker, and people kind of pick at it sometimes, but I say Milwaukee's Malcolm X, right? And I say that for a reason. I think people just think, oh, he Malcolm X, and it's not that. He's actually one of the main inspirations for why I am how I am, and a lot of the stuff that I do, right? Because believing in self-defense, believing in protecting our communities, standing up for racial injustice, and not being I don't want to say soft about it, but not taking that whole let people walk all over us and just we gotta love them and then fight it with love. Like I think a lot of times it's necessary to have action and it's necessary to have that force. Other communities don't do that. They're gonna arm themselves. They're gonna say, "Hey, y'all ain't coming over here with that." And so it's a time and a place for that. But I remember I was about somewhere I was like 7 or 9 or something like that. And I watched the Malcolm X movie with Denzel Washington for the first time. And it's just parts in that movie that at that age was just so inspiring to me. Like specifically when he went into the jail and they had beat this dude up. He was messed up and they didn't give him no medical, right? So he made them take him to the hospital, right? Forced them to with all them people behind him. And then when they came, they're like, look, we done did what you asked. They got him medical care. He's going to be all right. You know, can you make these people leave? And he literally did a gesture with his finger and everybody dispersed. That was just so crazy to me.
Powerful the word.
Right. And it stuck with me as a kid. And just as simultaneously in my young life, I grew up in Mississippi. So I didn't grow up specifically here. I'm from here, but I grew up in Mississippi with my great uncle and his family. He had a son and a wife. And the son was younger than me. So I always had to protect him at school. I couldn't defend myself. I couldn't get in trouble, but his wife was like, you better not let nothing happen to my son. So it's just been my life story to always be like, protect everybody, even if it's at a detriment to yourself. And that's those two things just played that role through my life. And I found myself here every time. So being a person in the room that's not going to sit back where everybody like, and I'm like, ain't nobody going to say nothing. Oh, okay. So I got it. Like, I'm going to have to do it. And it's not even my personality. I actually don't like doing it, but I always have to be the person to do it, which is,
that goes for everything. I don't care if you activist, hairstylist. I don't care what it is that you do. People seem to always have those egos and those sayings, but those are the very same people don't understand what it is that you go through, how you start your morning, what you do behind closed doors. Like I always say, you can never sit there and try to tear somebody apart if you're not doing exactly what it is that they're doing to get the exact same results.
Yeah. Like I said, it's a lot of people that want titles and this and that. And they have no idea what it is. Like, and when you say you did research on me, one thing I know, if you Google my name, a lot of bad stuff is going to come up. It's he got arrested for this. He got arrested for that. Yeah. People don't understand the intention of that, of how they purposely do that to you. So when somebody want to support you, they're going to look you up and all the bad stuff is going to pop up continuously, right? But those were targeted attacks, like them trying to put cases on me, them tying me up in court here. They're trying to get me really out the way, and they don't understand that part of it. They don't understand being under federal investigation directly from the president. Like Trump really put a case on me. Like I just got, it was a 10-year case that I just got over this past January finally, but they don't understand those parts and how you always got to look over your shoulder, not from the people in the community, but from the government and the police and all that crazy stuff. Like, I don't think they understand the totality of that. So when people jump into this work and want all the recognition and want to be on the same level as you like, you think you want this spot, but you really don't, So it is, man. It's something in our community that, we definitely have to address and deal with.
And you know what I say, like, when you don't know no better, you can't do better, but when you know better, you do better. So I feel like when people go through things, that builds their character.
Right.
That builds their character. So for me, seeing that, it's like who are you today? You know what I mean? Like people, if you are the same person since birth, what you learn? Nothing. You gotta go through something. It's unfortunate that whatever happened, but at the end of the day, look who you are today. You are strong, but you went through a lot to become who you are today. So again, that judgment shouldn't go, because if we want to talk about that, people that's higher up in corporate and all of that stuff, just speak a little tad bit on, they are the most corrupt people in the world. They just do it the right way. They not loud with it. So, well, now he's very loud, but they just loud. They just, like you said, under the radar. So that's just bull. You often speak on the connections between social justice and health. How do you see activists impacting people's well-being?
So that was the other side of when I say I do a lot. So I mean, when it comes to police shootings, when it comes to missing persons, and specifically health, because if you look back in COVID, like ComForce we actually created a central, like we almost became a news network, right? To where people come to us because you was hearing something totally different from the health department. You was hearing something totally different from the mayor and the county and this and that. So I did the work to make sure that we got whatever the most accurate and up-to-date information and shared it to the community, that we was getting what the community needed and wanted and their frustrations and concerns. We created this community, this health-based questionnaire that the county even put on their website, because nobody was centralizing this information and they were scared to go out and deal with people while I was still out there the whole time, so health is a huge part of public safety. Health is a huge part of people's behavior and what happens in our community every day. And so if people don't recognize the correlations between all the different stuff that's happening, then you're doing a disservice. That's why it's a difference between an advocate and an activist. Like, advocates target a specific thing and go for that, right? They take things on one at a time, but an activist just is broad and it takes on a bunch of different stuff. So
okay. What are some health challenges you've seen arise directly from community trauma or social injustice?
Man, mental health has been a huge thing tackling in our community. And of course, physical health has changed. Even mine, like if you look at my pictures from 2016, turning into COVID 2019, 2020, I didn't look the same. And it was because I invested so much time into the work, right, that I wasn't taking care of myself. Like, I'm just getting into the season of self-care and slowing down and doing stuff for myself. Because even when you take it on people's trauma, dealing with cases, dealing with, trials for people, burying people, like, you take on other people's traumas and issues and you don't really understand how that affects you until you really sit back. Like, I'm really absorbing a lot of other people's pain on top of everything I got going on personally. So health is very, very important in this work for the person that's doing the work and for the people that need the help.
For sure, because you're doing all that. It's like, who's taking care of you?
Right.
I always tell people, like, even though, you know what I'm saying, like, time waits for no one. That is true. But if you continue to be in robotic mode, which most people are because we're trying to just get it,
right,
you're really not doing much. You know what I mean? You're not knocking off boxes like you think you should be knocking off. So it's very important to step away, to regroup, to restructure, to see what it is that you need to be working on.
Yeah.
And people feel like if they step back, then they wasted a whole day of work, when it's like, no, you really need to take care of yourself.
Yeah, because sometimes your body will let you know that you're doing too much, and if you don't listen to it, you're gonna be
it will definitely shut you down. And it might be the wrong time.
Right.
Might be the wrong time. As someone who's activated in disastrous relief, how does the work contribute to both physical and mental health in the community?
So the disaster relief specifically, right? I always talk about, I sincerely hate the negative name that we have outside of this state, and how every time something is brought up about Milwaukee is some crazy negative story. And I'm like, I want to change that. Like, you'll always see me like, I ain't finna lay down for that. Y'all ain't finna do Milwaukee like that. So the disaster relief was part of that effort. Like, and that was also done unintentionally. Back in the day, when I first started, we did a water drop to Flint. And the way that we do our things is totally different from how everybody else does it, right? But when I got back here, I was like, yeah, we're gonna go back because the water's still messed up. And then come to find out, I'm sitting at home trying to organize another one to Flint, and it's like, wait, our water messed up too? It's worse and it's been bad for longer? That's crazy. Like, I didn't know that. And so again, being educated and informed about even what's going on in your area, because I'm all the way over here in another state and we got the same thing going on here and I don't even know about it, so that was like our first mobilization to another place to help folks. But then it turned into something more intentional of, ComForce is a first response based group. Like, we do a lot of medical training, a lot of life-saving trainings and stuff like that. And so I'm thinking ahead of the curve. Like, there is no real mobile relief for stuff that's happening across the country. And on top of that, when you show up to a different city and state, especially in the South. We've been to a number of places in the South. They are so blown away that this little company, came down with damn near semi trucks, full of stuff. How we tactical about it, how we pull up, how we do our stuff, and they just be so. Even FEMA was like, "Wait, y'all, who from where?" And that just, when they hear that we came from Milwaukee, it just blows people's mind. And that just makes me, again, when you talk about mental health and bringing people's spirits back up, these people have lost homes, lives, the tornadoes, ice storms, hurricanes, floods.
For sure.
And they be in the most devastated situation possible. But when we pull up from all the way up here and do what we do, like, people just really be taken aback, and they feel so much. It lifts their spirit. And that's one thing I'm also very intentional about lifting the morale of people, because people who hurt and traumatized and sad are likely to end up in some form of violence or something like that. And so again, it's intentional work.
And I was gonna say, but you already said, that was the first. It wasn't a mistake, but you was unaware that our water was messed up, because right. I often say, like, how do people sit there and help other cities and states when they're not helping their own cities and states? Like, how does that even work? But you flipped it around. So
yeah,
I gotta ask you that. I gotta ask you that. And it's so crazy how you say your little company, but you guys are not little. You know what I'm saying? You're just not big to the world because of whatever the reason is. And you make the bigger companies question, because what are you guys not doing as to why, quote unquote, our little company is able to do this? Where's your money going? Because y'all get taxpayer money. You know what I mean? So that's just like corruption within itself in there, because where is that money going? Why you guys can't? Y'all are meant for this,
right?
You know what I mean? So that's just,
that got me in a lot of trouble along the way, because we make a lot of people look bad. Honestly,
it ain't about making nobody looking bad. It's about showing up and helping those that are in need.
But people are so used to being able to skim past and act like they doing something right, until somebody who really doing something is standing next to them, and then it make people do exactly that. Like, wait, y'all got $1 million budget. They on Facebook raising $500, maybe $1,000, $5,000 at the most, and they doing more than y'all. What's up with that?
So how did y'all get in trouble? How did y'all get in trouble for doing what y'all do?
Because the world is ran by money. The world is ran by money,
for sure.
and money use thing. Money gets to moving around in the city. It really, because again, with all these different organizations and companies that's got millions upon millions of dollars, and we still got all the stuff wrong in our community that we got, then that means that somebody's doing something that ain't working.
For sure.
Right. So that is the way that it is. Before we really put this other alternative and version out for people to see, they had nothing to compare it to. So you could say, yeah, we doing our best. I've been in meetings where people have said, yeah, we cured homelessness. And I'm like, we just went live. It's 13. It's freezing. And there's people in this tent right here. How did y'all get? But they able to go in these rooms and say this stuff and get more money. And they able to lie like that.
What happened to the numbers? One of my good sisters are here, my sorority sister, Dr. LaShawn Garola. You are supposed to be, when you have that type of money coming in, you are supposed to be able to look up that type of money publicly to see where that money is going. Like, I'm with AFG. I'm able to see where our money is going to. So you're telling me that you can't request to see the money, or the money is not publicly viewed, because that is something that's supposed to be publicly viewed.
A lot of places weren't being audited and looked at like that. They are just giving the money freely, and they can say whatever, and nobody's checking them. And that's that again. Until you make it to where that becomes a question of public opinion, people don't even know to ask that question. Like, for instance,
we're gonna have to do a series.
Oh, listen, it gets deep, because when you start messing with money again, I definitely got in trouble not understanding the gravity of how instilled a lot of this, what we may call corruption, is. It's very intentional, and it's very prevalent. And if you don't open people's eyes to it, you wouldn't think about it, because I didn't think about it before I got involved.
We're gonna leave that's where that's happening. What kinds of impact have you witnessed from providing food, shelter, safe spaces, especially from our youth and our neighbors?
Man, community. I have seen such an impact, change in people, and it's the stories of everyday people, and that's why I'm able to go. It don't matter what side of town. I'm good, and it's because it's so many people whose lives were touched and affected, right? Like real life people. We was just at Tweezy when they first started putting the flowers and stuff down outside the shop the next day. And while I was on live, some young dudes stopped me and they was like, "You used to be at the park and you was giving us food and all that." And like, and he went on, he stopped his friends and really was like, "Hey man, this man right here," like, and it just, that type of stuff is why I do it.
That feels
because
good.
I've worked with so many young people, like, you know, when they were 14 and now they in their 20s, right? Like, and seeing them around town and they not getting in trouble no more. They got a job. They ain't in no stolen car. They bought their car. And we used to tell them, like, you know, it'll be cooler if you actually own the car, right? Like, you ain't gotta be looking for the police, and you can comfortably take the little baddie in your car. Like, yeah, this mine. You know what I'm saying? Like, and they really, now they pull up on me like, yeah, this mine, bro. Like, and this makes such a difference. Like, people who used to be fighting all the time and catching cases, like, they have made total changes in their lives. And I'm not saying I'm the only reason for that, but when you add a little bit of consistency in somebody's life, a little bit of positivity, and you kind of make that almost just as normal as the negative stuff they see every day, a lot of them, it may take them a while, but they gonna latch on to it after it's just interjected so much. We don't get enough positivity consistently in our communities.
That is so true. And consistency for me is a form of love. You know what I mean? It's so, yeah, we don't have to do a series. It's so bad to the point where it's like, once somebody do something bad, you want to categorize them. And the system is so messed up and so corrupt. It's just because they did bad, you put them in the system and then you forget about them. You should be trying to, you know, give them all the resources that they need instead of trying to put them in jail. Like, why are you putting these little kids in jail? I understand, like, kids do things, but at the end of the day, mental health is real. And I don't know if I got the numbers right or not, but I could have sworn I just heard, correct me if I'm wrong, that our president just gave Apple $1.4 billion and something. Why we can't get that over here in mental health? I'm just confused.
Well, they actually taking money from the stuff, you know.
So do I got it in reverse?
No,
I said it right.
You're right. He's giving money to those huge companies again, profitable businesses that's selling stuff to people, but all the stuff that's actually helping people health wise, violence prevention, while he's stripping all of that stuff.
And it's so crazy because it's going to make it bad, because we already have people that have really never been through anything, people that's one side mind tracked, and they don't understand what mental illness is. Just the same way of an autoimmune disease, because what do mental illness is supposed to look like? They feel like you're supposed to be mismatchy, you know, smelling bad, looking bad, and okay, something is wrong with him. You can look exactly how you are and have something wrong with you, and people don't know how to handle that. Like, he was just talking normal, or she was just talking normal, but now they spazzing out. Like, that's not normal behavior. So people, not only do our mental health individuals need to be handled better, people need to be educated on it as well.
Right. Because and they need to be given a different perspective sometimes than what they fed to all the time, right? Because to me, mental illness is claiming that you are a religious or Christian person, but the things that you're advocating for ain't Christian at all. Like, you are mad that somebody
you are opening up some doors.
You mad at kids, like you advocating for people to be killed and die, and you own stories of stuff that's happening to Black people applauding that stuff, but you're a Christian. That's crazy to me. So that even is a mental illness that people don't even recognize that they have, because you're not making sense, and you really are, like, standing on it too. Like, you got some problems going on.
Woo, Lord. Before we go to the next one, we got a couple of comments up there. What do they say?
Starkville, Mississippi. Oh, I grew up in Greenwood, Mississippi. So shout out to you. I joined late. What's your name? My name is Vaun Mayes. They are connected, social justice and health equity, I believe it says. Yes.
They for sure is connected. So we gonna jump into why this makes sense. Because like how you say, people I gotta be careful what I say. Individuals be looking at my platform and they just be waiting for something to mess up, right? But I always make sure everything makes sense on my platform. So we are bringing awareness to gun violence because I have a son that got shot 6 times, right? But this is a lupus-based platform because I have lupus. But my lupus community and yours go together in this house. So let me get to it. So At Lupus Has No Face, we focus on invisible battles, chronic illness, isolation, trauma. How do you see your work in the community also fighting invisible battles like grief, PTSD, or fear?
A lot of times it's self-medicating in ways that ain't necessarily the greatest for them, or trying to find medical things to help them with it, like pills and stuff of that nature, and they end up abusing them. So people are trying to find ways to heal themselves or to deal with what they got going on, but the outcome may not always be the best because, again, lack of education. And when you talk about how messed up health is in our community, period, even for the providers of health,
Yes,
this is one of the reasons why every person that started on my team, right, they have had to go through Stop the Bleed, CPR, mental health, QPR. We even had we've made like relationships with the fire department. They've let us, some of our people, take EMT training. Like, that's why that stuff is the focus, because we already know the horror stories from people that go to these different hospitals and clinics, and we need to learn those life-saving measures, because you can't always count on what's there to be there for us. So when you talk about especially when it comes to mental health, I mean, I just wish it was enough more hours in a day to be able to advocate and push for the stuff that everyday people need.
Enough people to come together that's on the same platform. And shout out to you. I'm gonna give you your flowers. Now, you are really doing the work, and not only is you doing the work, you are putting your people through the training. And I really believe in that. Like, your people should understand what it's like without knowing what it's like.
Right.
And shout out to Mikkel D. She's the owner of 414 Glow. Her employees, she send them, I don't want to say she send them to therapy, but she provide therapy sessions like for them. Option, yeah, and she's a therapist. So, and everybody needs therapy. People don't think that they do, but I advocate for therapy. Therapy is refreshing to me, if you ask me. So shout out to y'all just doing the work behind the scenes that don't nobody see.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Chronic illness like lupus and violence both carry long-term health impacts, mental, emotionally, and physical. What does true healing looks like to you?
I really can't say that, because I think we all know someone or another who is going through one of those different illnesses. Like I told you, there's members of my actual team who have like sickle cell and different stuff like that. And to be honest, it's a struggle watching them deal with that. Like, I don't always know what to say when I'm gonna tell you a crazy story. There was a person that I was Facebook friends with, right? And she had, I believe she had lupus. I think that's what she had, right? And she would always go on Facebook and, like, talk about her pain and all this stuff. Now, she lived at a certain age. She actually used to come out and volunteer for a lot of the different events and stuff that we used to go to. And I dropped her off one time at home, not knowing years later I moved into her same house, and this is how it ties in. She went to I saw this late. I started seeing RIP posts for her, right? And I'm like, what happened there? So I go to her page, and she was just like, she gonna start refusing treatment, and like she just was in so much pain all the time, like she didn't want to live no more, right? And I was just like, dang, like she really let herself die, And one day I went and checked the mail, and her name was on the mail. I lived in her exact house. And it just was so crazy to me. Like, that just made it even worse.
That is very unique.
So it just goes to show, like, and I see a lot of people struggling with that. A lot of people who struggle with those type of illnesses, and it's no cure. Again, they're getting the least quality of care, and they see no hope. And how do you keep somebody like that uplifted and willing to stay resilient and fight through that pain? Like, you can't tell them, like, keep at it. Like, it's a hard thing to deal with. And me, I'm a little bit, it's crazy because I'll run toward gunshots and bullets and stuff like that. But if I see somebody who I know and care about, and they like on a level of that, I struggle with like confronting that, right? So I may not comment on the post, or I
Why
may
not?
Because I mean, for me, it's a thing of like
not knowing what to say,
right? Because sometimes you can offend people by stuff you say, right? Some people don't want to just hear, "Oh, it'll be okay," and I'm here for you. A lot of people don't want to hear that kind of stuff, right? So not knowing the right thing to say is definitely a struggle, because I do know a number of people who they make those posts all the time, and they get to that point where they want to do the same thing. And I'm like,
everybody is different, right? Mm-hmm. But I am going to say, for people that I have or am, counseling, training, things like that nature, and even myself, mm-hmm. It starts with yourself first, mm-hmm. right? So you have to accept what you have. Mm-hmm. And once you accept what you have, then you start to learn to live better with lupus. Then you start learning your triggers, and mm-hmm. you start being an advocate for yourself, because like you said, some doctors out here is just treating it. Right. And most people that have lupus have different autoimmune disease on top of what they already have. Right. So they're giving you a pill for this, and they're giving you a pill for this, and they're giving you a pill for this. And all of your doctors have to communicate with each other so you guys can come up with something so you can have a comfortable life. Right. And even yourself. Mm-hmm. So when you accept what you have, and you start learning your triggers, and you start being more vocal, because some people think like it's all in their mind, right. They really not feeling this, and mm-hmm. X, Y, and Z. And that's the healing process. Right. There's really not a right or wrong thing to say, mm-hmm. but to hear those words, I'm here, keep your head up, mm-hmm. that does replay in people's head. So mm-hmm. it is okay if you do say that. It's just that if they ever reach out to you and you're not there, that's when the pain is gonna start for them. Yeah. Yeah, it's something I got to be better at. Trust me. It's just, man, it's hard, and it's hard to watch somebody, like I said, in pain and not be able to do nothing, besides give them some words, like, and you, as a person that I have like a total clean bill of health, like I don't have allergies, or I being around people with so many different medical things is just like, I don't know, like I don't know how it feels to be in your shoes. So, again, you don't want to be insensitive or dismissive. For sure, you don't want to do that. But I totally take that in, of not saying anything could also be dismissive, right? Because they may be looking like, why that person ain't reach out and say something, like, because that's a cry for help when people are doing that. Mm-hmm. It's definitely a cry for help, because they feel like don't nobody understand them, mm-hmm. don't nobody believe them. It's a whole thing. Yeah. It's a whole thing. And again, not Cabela, she says show empathy. That's for sure. Mm-hmm. Because it's just so much. But again, it's not enough time today. What can community organizations like Lupus Has No Face do better to support youth, families, individuals living with invisible wounds, whether it's autoimmune disease or gun violence trauma? So I would like to do something like get you connected with the city and the county as well, for like the different events and stuff, because one is, again, information. So is there a partnership that's possible to help spread the education, the lit, the available options and resources, groups, whatever, to the community? Because when we have these different things, I don't recall ever seeing anything about lupus there. I don't recall seeing anything about sickle cell or what's the muscle, the one with people, fibromyalgia, rheumatoid arthritis. I can't remember the name of it. Okay. Just all those specific things. Mm-hmm. And I know a number of people who deal with that stuff. So not even having anything promoted, right, to where aside from you go to your doctor and they may send you to some flimsy person over here, and that's your other option, your only other option. I think having more things available and just having it there, and accessible, I think would again help boost people's morale. It may help connect people with these issues so that they can help talk each other through it and build different relationships that way. I think more advocacy and inclusion in our everyday, all these different events and all that stuff. So I would like to say myself, if you have so we do this gift drive every year on Christmas Eve. And it's huge. And so if you have flyers that we could put in our gift bags to help promote it, then we would like to start that off by being someone that promotes that stuff out there. That's dope. We just had our 5th annual Christmas give back. So maybe we can collaborate somehow or whatever. We can talk about that, but I'm open. We're definitely open for sure. I believe in advocacy can be a form of medication. What advice do you have for lupus warriors or survivors who wants to use their pain as a platform for purpose?
I would say one of the dopest things that I've assisted with was helping somebody start a Facebook like self-help group for people suffering a specific thing. I talked a number of my Facebook friends and personal friends into creating a self-help group for people with like depression and suicide, right? And that may sound crazy, but it was super helpful because they may not go see a therapist, or they may not talk to somebody that you refer them to, but they all are on the same playing field. So they were talking to each other and having different discussions and stuff like that. They had like little partners that they would connect with in the group and stuff like that. So I think that's creating space for yourself to be open and to get that stuff out and to share with somebody who can relate to you, right? I think, and y'all can help lift each other up and keep each other, in check. I think that would be something that's I would suggest for all the different causes.
That is really dope. That's dope. So we're going to move on to your state emergency at the town hall.
Okay.
For that is August 12th.
Mm-hmm.
So first of all, how did you? I'm trying to figure. What made you come up with that? Is it because that's where he got? Was that the town hall that he got presented his plaque at? That wasn't it?
No. So this is the emergency town hall is not my thing. I'm part of the collective that they pulled in to like be a major, part of it.
Okay.
But Pastor Redante at Infinite Church and Biko Baker are the two who kind of pulled that together and organized it, right? So it is a community response because I don't know if you saw after Tweezy's shooting and the whole thing, there have been 9 shootings downtown and 2 deaths. And so the city, the common council actually called a public safety emergency hearing. We got to get on this. Downtown should be safe, all that kind of stuff.
It should be.
But it rubbed people the wrong way because where was that? Like, we at a high for homicides and shootings right now. So the rest of the city should have the same energy, but of course, when it's downtown, and that's the attitude that people had toward it, and by all means, they should. And so that was their way of saying, let's bring it back around because that meeting was not public comment, so the public couldn't have input or say what they need to say, and so we definitely pushed for people to have their input in government and what's going on. And so that was their way of continuing Tweezy's memory. And he talked about a lot of stuff right before he died that he wanted to do in the community. And so people are trying to keep that energy alive and start the process of doing stuff in his name and honor that was along the line and with alignment with what he wanted to do. So this is a town hall for people to come and express their ideas, their concerns, their frustrations about the violence and the things that are happening in our communities. Elected officials are invited, and we're asking that they be there to hear directly from the people, versus what they did, which was very closed.
Okay, so now listen, y'all. Do not come for me. Please don't come for me. But I'm gonna say this. Like, I knew him. We crossed paths probably like every time I was out. He was a real cool, respectable guy, very educated. But my thing is, he was very important to the community. Mm-hmm. But you're gonna get people out here that's gonna be like, well, why didn't this happen with such and such pass and such and such pass? Because when he passed, it was somebody else that passed that same day. Yeah. And it's like this thing, right? Mm-hmm. But then a part of me, well, the goal is as long as it's happening. Mm-hmm. You understand what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So I guess my question to you from the people is, why did it take somebody that was so important to Milwaukee, Wisconsin in order to put this stuff in place versus the shootings prior?
I think it also, when you're a notable person or a city icon, right, you have a different advocacy push, right? Because there are a lot of families. Diamond Arbery, her family, she was also killed outside of Element. a couple years before, and no one is still arrested for that. So she's been marching and doing different things in her honor, and she didn't have that same support and push for her daughter, right? But unfortunately, for those people who are like the more known and notable people in the city, it's always going to be a more hoopla around them because of the amount of people who they are, right? Their status in the city, right? And for him, he was like a city ambassador, like anybody and everybody who was somebody, you know, icons and rappers and artists, and I mean they all
knew him,
right? So that's why it's more of a thing for somebody like that, right? So I know from the outside looking in, that may always put a bad taste in people's mouth, but it's the same way for like why is this, they shut the whole city down if a police officer get killed, or if forbid anything happens to the president or somebody who's up in a higher, you know, status or rank, is going to be a different reaction versus people like everyday people that they consider. So it's just the way society is. There's that hierarchy, and unfortunately some people have more support and notoriety than other people. So, and I would say that from the city's perspective, it had nothing to do with him. They were just like, downtown is at risk. So it's kind of the same thing of why is it such an emergency because it's downtown versus the rest of the city. So,
for sure,
you know, but just bringing that balance, because even with that happening, we definitely made an intentional push to say other people were
you for sure
that,
did. You for sure did do that, and this was coming from the people, it wasn't coming from me. But I totally understand that. So like for the people that is mad and have all of that, where was this when it happened to my baby? The point is it's happening now. So come together as a unit and join it now. You know what I mean? We couldn't do it then for whatever reason. You heard what he said, but it's happening now. And that's something positive to focus on, right?
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately,
those are my good words. I don't know, because I don't want to be on this side or that side.
No, it's no right or wrong answer.
It's right.
Because to be honest, even if there was a push, right, some people feel like the whole city should come out for their loss, right? And that person could be a newborn baby, right? And you can't really tell them that they're wrong for feeling like that. You know, some people just, when you lose somebody, a lot of times you just pick whatever you're mad at is like your target, you know, and you go in on it. So I feel like, you know, there will always be that, no matter if people got more support, they will wonder why they don't have more support than what they have then, you know. But that's why we try to be as balanced and intentional about supporting people, regardless of who they are and if they got no.
Y'all were definitely doing y'all thing though. Y'all were definitely saying the people name. So like I said, shout out to you guys. But I just sent a lot of stuff on the books and all of that, and a lot of questions. So I just thought I would ask for the people. The theme is it takes the culture to heal the culture. What does the phrase mean in the context of your work?
So this is gonna be my meaning. I don't know who came up with that and what their meaning is, but for me, you know, and I said this on my live too, we have to make some things uncool. And it's just certain things that we give passes to, that's not okay, and we have to change that. You know, certain people can get away with doing some things because of who they are. You know, there's still a line of people who want to, you know, free some of these freaky people out here because they are somebody, right? But they are doing some crazy stuff out here, and it's like they still have support. Like, that's crazy. But I listen, people was outside the courthouse pouring baby oil on themselves because they think Diddy is finna get out. That's insane.
Let me just say this, and I'm done with this conversation, right? Because this is gonna turn. This is my thing. I have a son and I have a daughter. We don't always know what our kids are doing. I'm putting myself in a hole for everybody. We don't always know what our children are doing. From the beginning of time, older men have always courted younger women. Think about it. In high school, the guys graduate, they pulling up in their toys. You ain't supposed to be talking to these kids, right? I'm not saying that it's okay, so do not come for me. But what I'm saying is,
cultural, historical thing, especially in Milwaukee.
Right. Yeah, what I'm saying is, you guys made it okay until someone start putting the laws behind it, because for forever you got the moms that's letting the guys come over, that's 20, the girl is 15, 16. Like, people be okay with this until they are not okay with it. And I'm gonna just say that to say that, like, because it's both ends that are hurting, you know what I mean? Like, and there's nothing like wrong with their minds or anything like that. Some are, but this been happening since the beginning of times. And I'm just talking about just the whole thing, how older men date younger women. And in an era in the 90s and the 80s, everybody was okay with it. Now it's all of this other stuff that is going on. And I'm not saying that they shouldn't or should not be okay with it. What I'm saying is, I have a son too. These girls around here lying about their age or whatever it is, both should get in trouble. However that see fit, because you janking up these young boys on these charges when these girls are at fault as well. Period. Because they go home or whatever the case may be, lie. However,
but that's what I mean about I don't mean just one side.
Because that side is crazy.
It's it's so much culturally that it's cool and it's fine, and we let people, like I said, we let certain people get away with it. A woman can most definitely lie and drag you through the mud, get you arrested and all this, and come to find out she lied, nothing happens to them. So I mean that stuff too. That's a cultural shift that we have to say, hey, you doing that kind of stuff, get away from it. We ain't supporting you, we ousting you. Like, it's a certain way that we need to be,
for sure,
to not have those gray areas in our community.
For
because as long
sure.
as they're there, and as long as it's people that's gonna be, I don't care what they did, then it's people gonna feel supported, and they not gonna care about doing what they doing because they know they're gonna have support either way.
Okay. The town hall honors OG Tweezy and all victims, survivors of gun violence. How do we begin to heal those generations' wounds as a community?
I really don't have an answer for the healing, because the process is different. People grieve different. Some people never get over loss. I know a lady back in Mississippi, her son was shot and killed when I was in my early 20s. I was probably like 22. And to this day, that's all she could talk about. And this has been almost 20 years later, and that replays in her mind every day. That's all she could talk about. And so her lifestyle has changed. It's almost a little sad, but some people will never truly heal from that. I've seen people who just lost their parent, could be health or natural causes or whatever, and they still never get over that. Like, when it comes to healing, I just think we all need to do the most and the best that we can to help each other through that process.
Yes.
And again, not be as dismissive, because I know myself, in certain things I could be like, I don't understand why you can't get past that, right? But
I'm like that too.
It's my brothers and sisters on my mom's side. It's 10 of us on my mom's side. And a lot of us went through the same stuff, but half of us is cool and half of us ain't all right. So people can go through the same thing and have two total different reactions. So you can't really,
This is my opinion, because I've been through a lot, like from getting diagnosed with lupus at an early age, my childhood being snatched away from me and things of that nature. But I'm grateful, I'm blessed, and I'm happy. I feel like healing is a choice. I really truly feel like healing is a choice, because you get to wake up. You cannot wake up and be mad from the stuff that happened yesterday. Nothing never hits the same. You know what I'm saying? So if I slap you right now, you're not going to feel that exact same pain 3 seconds later. You're not. People choose to be angry. They choose to be mad because of whatever our reason. I don't know. But because of that, I feel like people choose not to heal. And that probably don't register in their mind, because who wants to have that gut feeling? Who wants to have that body pain? Because when you're not healed, your body eat from the inside out. Your body going through something. And I feel like people don't have enough support. People shut people out. You may shut some people out, but if you got that support, that real support, they're going to continue to check up on you no matter what. You know what I'm saying? And you're going to go through those text messages. You're going to read them, and you're going to eventually get back to life. And I feel like those people that are healed, they chose not to feel that way anymore. Because what can you actually do about it? Nothing. You cannot bring them back. And I don't mean to sound like that, but and grieving is not just losing somebody. You know what I'm saying? Grieving could be the loss of an old life. You have to want to heal. And the other thing that I cannot stand is trigger word. People use the trigger word so loosely now that doesn't make any sense to me. If you heal, you don't have a trigger word. That's how I see it. Why is it triggering you if you heal from it?
Some people take their whole lives, because listen, like I said, I used to be a YN. Certain stuff I was able to say, listen, I'm not doing that no more. And I was able to snap my finger and be cool from that. But it's still stuff that I struggle with. For instance, being incarcerated and how institutionalization is a real thing. Certain things, if people don't, again, have those options or those resources to understand like what they can do outside of what they think they already doing, and you just see these bad examples of how to deal with your trauma and your all the stuff you're going through, then you're gonna keep doing it the way that
it's
you
almost
know
becoming brainwashed.
It is
your environment of your community. Like I felt like I did everything right in raising my son. He has everybody. When I say he was born with 6 grandparents, grandmas, the husbands was included, mom and dad, both sides. Like he was the first everything. And not standing in the inner city, none of that. So fast forward as he got older, my son got shot 6 times at work. Now he doesn't run in the streets. He doesn't do anything. He just got back up here from Tennessee, working with Q&M Bronzeville's way. Yeah. So he was developing all of that stuff down there. Early in the morning, I was just getting back from a Sarah's Jakes conference. Okay. Getting sleep. My phone just ringing. I'm like, I'm gonna answer it. He calls me at 9 something. So after 9, he like literally they just shot him, emptied the whole clip out on him. That was one of my worst fears ever in life, just him staying here getting shot. And so for that to happen to my son, like it chokes me, it makes my stomach turn, but I don't let my mind go further. Like what if, because that builds anxiety. I'm just so thankful to where why God let that happen. I don't know. I don't care. Maybe he was doing, I don't know. Right. But my son he don't have any formalities, anything. He was going through, the mental state for a while. We both were. But now, good. But we would never know. So I just say that to say, like, that was a fear for me, my only son. And for him to come out of that clean, I'm thankful. So I don't care that he got shot 6 times. You know what I mean? But then I also had to, because I developed PTSD over that. So I also had to give it to God because I'm watching his location. I'm calling. It's just all the stuff is going wrong. Like, I'm like, you need to be home. Like, I'm being stressed. But I prayed about it and gave it to God. Because from what they say is our first son is not our son. It's God's son. And that's my first son. So I had to just trust God to do whatever he's going to do.
That's a level of strength that a lot of people would never reach. Honestly, like even myself, like the stuff I've gone through, especially during this 10 or 12-year period of activism, like I've been able to stay focused and keep moving with all of the drama and the BS that has been thrown my way all this time. But everybody ain't able to do that, and it's a gift. Honestly, it's really a gift to be able to be bulletproof to a lot of stuff that really takes a lot of people out. Some people can't, and again, sometimes it really takes that perspective, like to see somebody with no arms and legs and them enjoying life and being cool, and you got all your limbs, you can see, you can hear, and you got some work, like, and it really, that is the perspective that enables me, like, I mean, I really don't have that much to complain about,
for sure.
I'm straight. So a lot more people need that perspective in that level of strength, because it's very easy. The easy way is to just
drown in your mess,
to just drown and to just. And
sometimes
again, I don't
feel
want to
like
be dismissive and say people are using stuff as an excuse or a crutch, but there are.
That's
people
what
that,
I was just going to say.
That.
I feel like people like to be victims. Like it gives them that extra cushion. Like I don't know how else to see it, and maybe I do have a gift that I just didn't realize it was a gift like that. But I just be like, who wants to wake up feeling like this and like going through this? Nobody wants to do that. But yeah, so we're gonna leave that's where that's at. We're talking today, boy. Um, you will be standing beside some powerful voices, from activists to artists to elected officials. How do we align across those differences to make real lasting changes?
And like I said, all you gotta do is watch Concourse. That's another day at the office to me. I go outside myself. I make sure, we are putting ourselves in all the different circles and spaces, from entertainment to music, film, community, government, and we are making sure and putting people on a path to make sure that we're aligned. Because it all makes a difference. The people in entertainment that's on these movies, is the TikToks, the social medias that our kids, our children are watching and want to be like them. They need to also come into this space and give back and tell these kids, like, hey, this entertainment, get an education, like the drug dealer used to do on the corner. They didn't used to let, if you was a certain age, they made you go to school. Like, man, get your little tail out of here, man. Like,
listen, the 80s, I don't know what happened. People was able to discipline us and not worry about nothing. These days, could never. You said something to my child, like, it was nothing. They would never understand how we grew up, the era we grew up. Like, it was always violence, but it was never in our face type of violence.
And it wasn't as prevalent.
No, and the men respected the women and the children.
There was rules and structures. It was understood certain things you did and certain things you didn't do. And if you did certain type of things, you would not be welcome, or you wouldn't be able to just walk around here like everything was cool. They was gonna do something
that
to you,
uncle
or you
was coming something, yeah.
So we lost that. It's something that we can return to. Like right now, I'm pulling down the car, especially with our young people. They are super unguided. Like, they just doing whatever they come up with is what's law, right? And I'm like, all these dudes running around talking about they run this area, they run this block. Like, where are y'all just letting anything happen? Like, again, back when we was doing, if you made the police come to where we at and made it hot, we was gonna do something to you when they let them know. Why you do that? So we need to return to having that level of hey, you do certain things, we gonna come see you. It ain't what you do, it's how you do it.
The respect got lost along the way some way. It really did. For those who feel powerless or overwhelmed by what's happening in our community, what would you say to them?
I would definitely say everybody has a role or lane that they can do something, right? I learned that lesson the hard way too, of like, everybody ain't the warrior that's gonna be out on the front lines yelling and screaming or fighting the battles. Like, I expected that when I first came. I'm like, well, y'all ain't oh, okay, I see what's going on here. But there are things that people can do. Some people can just share a post. Some people can just tell somebody else that what you got going on and support that way. Somebody can put the money in. Somebody can, they got a skill they can come, and give and teach. There are roles and lanes for everybody. And even beyond that, I think a lot of people are on this earth and are not even looking to know what their purpose is. You're not just born here to be here. Everybody here has a purpose. And when you find that, everything will open up, right? But people try to force their purpose. Or I'm supposed to be a rapper. I'm supposed to be this over here. And then it's like you totally missing what your calling and your gift is, because you're trying to be what you think everybody like, or what you see yourself as. And it's like, I ran from my purpose for a long time, but like I said, I couldn't run from it, because anytime something happened, I'm the first person they get called. Like, and I'm like, man, dude, I'm tired of going to jail. I'm tired of doing this. So I just had to, but it clearly was my calling. Like, I'm supposed to be here to protect people, right? So,
and people don't understand what a calling is. For me, my calling never left my brain. Like, it never left. I just put action to it. I didn't put thought to it, because I'm like, what? This is not something I want to do. Like, but even then, when it was time to perform, I didn't want to, but it went and it went and it went, and now I'm in love with it. So I feel like, is that experience that you had, like, it just never left your thought process?
Yeah. Listen, like I said, I ran away from it. I try to do other things, and it's just nothing else has been like, I'm like a fish in water when I'm doing this specific thing. And that tells me, and my steps have been guided. As long as I keep moving it don't matter what's thrown at me, I always come out on top. So, I'm very sure that I'm walking in my purpose.
Okay. While we wrapping this thing up, what do you hope people walk away with after attending or hearing about this town hall?
I really hope that people are prepared to again act, because so many times we have these meetings and town halls and people just want to come there and yell and tell somebody what they ain't doing and what they need to do, and that's what I expressed to them. Like, you're gonna have them people that just show up on that type of time, and they have no intention of being genuine, or actually doing anything other than just to come here and say they peace and leave, right? So, but let's be intentional about finding and selecting and pulling those people in who actually want to do something. Like, let's give them some actionable steps to leave with, and give them the option to do that. And we can go from there, because it's never been the masses. It's never the masses of people that step forward to do what needs to be done. It's always the few. So you got to take the few here, the few there, and you got to build up that way.
No, for sure. And especially when people know there's a lot of work to do and you ain't getting paid, that cuts about half of them right there.
80%. I have 80%.
Like, I got to do what? I just did an hour deal with these kids. I got to cook it. You want me to do what? So, yeah, you definitely got to be true to it. How can our listeners support the mission, whether they are in Milwaukee or watching from another city?
Again, just continue to watch, follow, and support. For as visible as I am, there's still people all across the city and nation that have no idea that I exist.
Yes, I didn't even know.
And that's crazy. And even
and I'm out here in the community. Well, I'm doing it, but I never.
We kind of in two different. But eventually, I'm more than sure we would run into each other. Because, but we need to be more intentional with that piece, especially the larger, regular, everyday person that's just going to work and trying to live. Know what's out here, right? And we have to do our piece to make sure that we let people know what's out here, because that is, again, one of the things that can change things in our community if people had that access to all the same information. Even with social media and all the other stuff that we have access to, people ain't getting on there trying to look for no community lupus event. They on there trying to see what tea today, who did what to who. It's entertainment. They're going on there for entertainment. But we gotta get it. Hey, while you watching this, hey, we got the lupus is over here.
How proud of that.
we gotta be intentional about that. So
no, for real. Like, just in the closing, like, it's so many events that I've done that people have people in their family with lupus, and I'd be like, and they still don't know what it is. And I'll sit there and talk to them, and they done hit me back and say, like, that really helped. Thank you. Like, I get so many messages. It's overwhelmingly crazy, but I'm thankful for it, because I'm like, he built me for this. So just how you said. But what's your tags? And we also gonna drop your tags and a link for people to follow you. You got anything that's coming up?
So we towards the end of the year, generally in August, we have a basketball weekend called Tay Day weekend. We're hoping to get the support to do it this year. And then additional, whether we do that or not, we are always going to do our gift drive. It'll be year 12 this year, where we select a different area of the city that's hit by a bunch of different ills, like, shootings and just poverty or whatever the case may be. We select a different area of the city every year. We pull up and give out over $10,000 worth of resources, toys, TVs, gift cards, like cash. Just, we just show the community some love and some support.
That is amazing.
So be looking for that. That happens on Christmas Eve every year. You can follow me at Vaun Mayes, VAUNLMAYES. And from there, you should be able to connect with every other thing that I got going on. So definitely looking forward to it. And next year, we're going to try to start the year off with a nice bang and have some fresh new things to try to tackle 2026 with.
For sure. I cannot wait. I'm looking forward to it. Tone is going to drop those tags in the chat, so you guys go ahead and check him out. Remember, if you guys are available or if you are coming late, August 12th, right? August 12th.
At, I believe it's at
6 p.m.
Yeah, there we go.
August 12th at 6 p.m. Come show some love, some support. Come bring some concerns. Be respectful, and come with a plan of action if you guys are really truly coming to support this cause. We do have TDR Network that is presenting mental health mashup for men. It's called Let's Break the Stigma. It's going to be a bi-weekly meeting. The first meeting is going to be Friday, August 13th at 5:30 to 7 p.m. At TDR Studios. 6815 was Capitol Drive, Suite 300. That definitely will be in the comments. If you guys are your egoing, whatever the case may be, just come in, fill out the vibes, and something else that you guys want to continue to do. He will have an ongoing thing. So I think you guys need to come check that out. Bring your sons, cousins, any young man. I think that'd be very, very beneficial. Again, if you guys are joining us at the walk in Illinois, that will be August 9th. Register starts at 9 a.m. to 10 p.m. with Dr. LaShawn Garola. You can register. Tone, can you put that up? You still have it. You can register. Still time to register for the Lupus Walk in Illinois. That is going on as well. And you guys already know what time it is. It was a pleasure speaking to Mr. Vaun Mayes, the force of the community. I'm going to say different states because he's been traveling with them U-Hauls, talking about building up the community and cultivating the health. We are live every Wednesday at 6:30 on all platforms. Be sure to replay, like, subscribe, and share a Lupus Has No Face podcast. Until next time.